I can guarantee you this, we all want to make it, but we probably don't know how. And that's what we're trying to do here at Muno by speaking to the people who have and who know how. And we're bringing the experts right to your screen. Welcome to a word from the wise.
Word to the wise, I'm a G, you don't know me. I just tripled last month and this whole week. Double time 06 and an OG. Shorty kissing on my neck, says she know me. Yeah.
Hey G.
What's up, Godfrey? I'm good. I'm feeling so great that I get the opportunity to sit here with you today, and the fact that you're doing something so real and amazing, and I'm glad that you want to create an environment where people can learn from each other as well as share what they have gone through in order to add value to others. So that makes me very happy for you.
Now look, when you are happy, we are happy.
Yeah, okay.
It's good.
Yeah.
We're here to learn, we're here to engage.
No, definitely.
It's a conversation.
Yeah.
A word
of
two.
Yeah.
From the wise. We think you're wise.
Yeah.
You've gone.
You think I'm wise?
No, listen. We think you're wise. You've taken a certain path as a creative artist.
Yeah.
And so you've learned something.
Yeah, learned a lot.
Which has given you wisdom of sorts. So,
yeah. I've lived 82 years within this 1 year, so yeah, it's definitely something.
That's good. I mean, so look, I know we're starting off, so let's kind of ease into it.
No, definitely.
With a few random questions.
Oh my God.
What does downtime look like to you? I mean, I'm sure you're not busy 24/7.
I used to be terrible. I didn't balance in the beginning when I started my business because I just thought that I was that savage person, like I'm a savage, I thought I would do that. But I realized that balancing is very important for me. So what I did was that I told myself that from Monday to Friday, I work hard. I get my goals ready and I just, right? And then when Saturday and Sunday comes, I have to balance, whether it's like spending time with my family or, going to check on a friend. And I feel like it's essential at this time right now, as I discovered that balance is for me, because I realized that a lot of friendships were quiet in that time when I was working literally 24/7 without any break for myself.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you said balance for me. Who's me?
You know why I say balance?
Who's me?
Okay, let me tell
What's
you.
your name?
Okay.
Government name. What government?
Okay, so she's Gugu Dhlamini, So what happened is that for me, when starting this business, I was around a person who I deemed very successful in the business world. Currently, right now, he's like a millionaire from being a business person. He's actually one of the people that pushed me to try. And his work ethic in the beginning, not the beginning, in the beginning, was that he would work tirelessly every day. And he would tell me, like, Gugu, when you're in business, you gotta work. You gotta work, and you must be hanging out, don't hang out with nobody, just work. So for me, getting into the business naively, that's the only frame of reference of what a person in business should do. So I realized that he only operated like that because he came from a background where he had no other alternative. He knew that if he stopped at any point, he would have to go back to an environment where he didn't wish to be, because that's where he saw his peers die, where dreams just died in that realm. And his work ethic was that if I work hard enough 24/7, I'll be able to win my freedom. And that's his story, but that's not my story. And I tried to take those lessons and put them in my life, and then I realized that I was killing myself because I wasn't operating in an element that was healthy for myself. That's why. You must work. No, people need to really understand that, we all have to live according to our specific standards. You grew up in a different way. I grew up in a different way. We can teach each other these things, but you need to also understand how you operate. And what people do is that they take on other people's methods of doing things without trying to figure out where they fit in that space. So don't do that, guys. Don't be me. Be better.
Be better. Hectic. Be better.
Be better.
Did you hear that? Be better. Do you have a favorite beverage?
The favorite beverage.
Right, because then this beverage, if you have a favorite beverage, which one would be that best describes you?
Oh, okay. What beverage would describe me, right? So I used to come from a point where I was obsessed with Red Bull, right? So I got my life, my energy, because I feel like Red Bull has a very intense sweet taste to it, but without being overwhelming. And it gives you that boost of energy that you need, but it also has that point where you makes you have those withdrawals where you chill. Yeah. So for me, I just kind of identify with a little bit of that, because I think, I don't know, but I think I'm a little bit of I got that sweet edge, but at the same time, I'm not overwhelming. I have that energy, but I also have that time where I have those moments where I'm the total opposite of that energy, where I'm very chilled. So it's kind of like that. I don't know if that makes sense.
So would you say that it gives you wings?
It gives me wings, so it makes me fly.
Is this in the way that you dress?
With the way that I dress, bro, I put on clothes. That's what I do. I don't look at oh my gosh, what's the hottest trend out there? Nah, dude. I look at something and it's ooh, that looks cute. Does it fit? I'm gonna put it on. And if I look sexiest, rock with it. So I'm not that kind of a fashion person.
What kind of movie you would write if you were a script writer? What would you write about, and what would be your main character?
From my life story, honestly, I think that if I was to write a movie and I had that spirit, I would write a movie about how, as human beings, we actually, even though we're different, we all have the same struggles. And a lot of the time we hide those struggles. And what I would put out there is that I would show a journey of a specific person who knows how to hide their scars and tries to move forward in life thinking that, everyone is perfect and people can't learn about his imperfections. But if he let that imperfection out, he would realize there's a lot of people that can relate to him. So if we're able to be transparent with each other about our scars, we can identify them and move forward so they don't hold us back when we move in life and progress in life. Because when you realize it, a lot of the time when as human beings we try to do something and move forward, our mind becomes negative and fetches something from when you're grade 6. I don't know why our brains are like that, and puts that insecurity in your mind and restricts you, and you always go back. And then you try and it restricts you and you always go back. So it'd probably be a story about how a person will be transparent about their life and their journey to help other people to realize that there's freedom in being open about those things and healing and becoming better. But in a sexier way, probably there will be an action situation, guns, ratata, I don't know, to make it juicy, but I'm just speaking from I guess, a basic.
So, we all like journeys then, right? Because I feel like that's what a lot of people want to know sometimes, where we see the people that we aspire to be they had a journey, or they have a journey.
No, they all do.
And they have a beginning.
No.
So what's your beginning? Right from your first out of the womb.
Childhood things.
Your names, if there are many. I don't know, you don't need to tell me nicknames, perhaps.
No, but I do have quite a number. No, for me, definitely was quite a journey to be the person that I am today. I'm so thankful that I'm one of those people that can say within my young age, I know who I am. I can progress from here, but at least I know who I am. And I struggled a lot because I come from a background where both my parents are pastors. They built a church from scratch. And in the beginning, from primary school, I, as a kid, had no mother-freaking limitations, nothing. When it came to race, when it came to what I had to do, I didn't care. And it showed even throughout my sports career, starting from primary school. If I saw a goal, I wouldn't care how much pain I'd have to go through in order to receive it. Even when it came into relationships, like in grade 1, quick story, I digress. There was this other guy, Emma Haynes, right? And I had the hugest crush on him, but at the time I didn't know what it was. I'm like, oh my God, he's so cute. And we were all so cute back then, right? And I just wanted him to just acknowledge and notice me. Most girls be like, I'm gonna write him a love note. Or no, I'm gonna give him a chocolate and say that you have a secret crush. Not Gugu, now I had to be extra. I was like, I'm gonna freaking see what he likes. I knew that he was the best swimmer in the school. I decided that I'm gonna have to be the best swimmer in the school in order for him to at least acknowledge my existence. So what I did was that I asked my mom for swimming lessons. I taught myself how to swim. And then I asked the swimming teacher, can I join the swimming team? She's like, let's see how good you are. I pushed focus. I did a young dive, oop. I did that dive. When you dive, you do this with your butt. And I was the only chocolate swirl in the entire swim team, but I didn't care because my goal is that if this guy can at least know me, I can quit the team because my mission is done. So one day we were training and we were swimming so hard. I didn't want to compete, but I wasn't even noticing like I was working so hard that the teacher said, you're gonna compete. Hated that crap, hate organized swimming. But then there was one day from class, he walked past and he's like, hey Gugu, I'm gonna see you in swim team. I'm like, yes. And he's like, yeah. Okay, I was like, and then I quit the swimming team because my mission is complete. He noticed a sister. So I've always been a person with no limitations. But what messed me up in my journey was that one day, I don't know what happened with this particular church lady, and I told my mom, like, I don't care what she thinks of me. I don't care. And my mom looked at me with her black parent eyes and she's like, you must care. You must care what everyone says, because that means it's true. Something is true in that. So for me, I took it literally. But looking back now, what she was teaching me is that she didn't want me to grow up with a savage mentality, where I'm one of those people that don't consider other people's feelings. But what I did is that if a person is wrong, but they comment about me, that means some part of it is true, whether good or bad. And that's where my limitations started.
So if you're talking about expression, I mean, you're a creative artist, as I said. Do you want to shed more light on what exactly you do, how you do it, perhaps 24 hours a day or 12 hours a day? Yeah.
So what I do is that I'm an art director, a digital art director. So what I do is that I go to people who have brands and have businesses, and I ask them, what do you want to express about your business online? Creatively? Is it in the form of a logo, brand identity, a video? What is it that you want? And they tell me what they want, and then what I do is that I give them something that pushes them out of their element. I give them two options. One that pushes them a little bit out of their element, and I give them another part that takes their idea and gives them something that they've never imagined before. And that's the standard that I hold myself at. I have to give somebody something that means so much more. When you look at it, this person must be like, crap, I never thought of that. And that's the standard that I grew up within my creativity to do. But like I told you before, my limitations within my creativity always made me conform to what the industry wanted. They say, Google, everywhere, in school, be simpler. In my ideas, be simpler. In my first job, be simpler. This is not what industry people do, be simpler. And I always wanted to be more. I'm like, this person can have so much. If it's a logo, that's great. It's one thing to create something pretty, but what if I were to take a part of who you are on your journey and make that into something amazing? But I couldn't do that because everyone was limiting me and say, be simpler. So I was never able to express myself, but now I can through the platform that I created for myself. Yeah. That I'm able to add crazy, insane value to a person's life and open their eyes to the possibility of what they can be through their brand or their business. Yeah, so my standard is that I have to, every day, I intentionally wake up and be like, how can I be a better creator for this person? I have to be better than myself. Like today, when I create something, tomorrow I have to be better. The next day, I have to be better. Because when I do that, I lift up my standard, and that's where I can do more, so then I can not only be competent to do the work, because now you put in the hours, but you're able to add more value to that person. You're pouring out what you have. So that's where my mindset is.
You mentioned what school and the walls that it was placing around you in one way or another. Dim your light.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now I want to put it that way. Dim your light. Not these lights.
No, we need them.
Yeah. But you'd come off as this exceptional young woman who wants to excel and do well and win in the way that you see it happen. So it's not that the school would want to see that they don't want to see you win or excel or pass, but they want it in a conformed,
1,000%.
specific way. So that disconnect. How best can any other person do it? I mean, there's the way that you've done it, right? Where it's like, look, I don't care, right? Or I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
How would you advise people to break away from or rather in the most strategic way.
Oh, okay. If we were to do it in steps.
Yeah.
Okay. What I've learned in life is that there is no shortcuts. You know, there's a lot of people out there that want to put a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 step in terms for you to get happy.
Yeah.
You have to put in the work in yourself in order to be a more fulfilled person. For me, my idea of success might not be the same idea of success for somebody else, but there are a few human needs that are consistent with everybody. It is the need to feel significance. It's the need for certainty and uncertainty, because if you're too certain about what people are going to do all the time, every time, you're going to get bored. You feel uncertain, there's not going to be any structure in your life, you're going to go crazy, you know. And there's a sense of a person also needs to be fulfilled. And for me, my science was that, lucky for me, I saw people who literally had everything. They had love, they had money, they had success, and you guys even know the examples. You guys can even go for like people like our localized one, like Brenda Fassie. How well was she good at the science of achievement? She was young, people said she couldn't make it, she achieved it, she got endorsement deals, she broke barriers for black people when they thought they couldn't be more than they could. But at the end of the day, she ended up dying, and because of like, you know, drugs and depression. And people think like, oh, you know, there's something wrong with it. Like, no, it's because she made everyone happy but herself. She got money, she got the success, but success and money doesn't make you happy. Fulfillment does. And those are the questions that I look at in life. And when I left my internship and I was thinking about going to another space, and my business partner approached me, I was so desperate for fulfillment because I was always limited in my abilities. But I was like, there has to be more. There has to be more to life than this. I need to feel a sense of connection while I'm doing what I'm good at. And what I did was that I chose fulfillment over money. Money is convenient in a tough economy. Money will get you things, will buy you toys and whistles. But when you get that million and you're a billionaire, then what? What's left? Are you gonna go buy more furniture, more clothes to make you feel happy? All those things are short term. And that's how human beings are. Anytime when we progress in life, we get used to things. Think about when you got when you thought about, okay, I want this pair of shoes, and you never had it before, but you knew like, I'm gonna get so excited when I get it. You got the shoes, it became a reality, and after 6 months, what happened? Did that level of excitement happen? Did it sustain you for long? No. So for me, I was like, what is long-term happiness? And for me, it equaled fulfillment. And because I wanted fulfillment more than money, it opened my eyes to opportunities that I couldn't find before. For example, if I were to put it practically, everybody in the room right now, right? Okay, look around, look for anything red here. Look for anything red. Red, 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 red. Red. You find something red? You found something red? Okay, close your eyes. Can you point out anything that you can say was like green? Green. No, don't open your eyes, you close your eyes. So basically the premise of the conversation was that immediately you thought that I was gonna say, find red, right? And when I said green, it kind of threw you off because like, crap, like why are you pointing out that? Why are you pointing out that color? So what I'm saying is that what you ask, you receive. In the Bible, it's like whatever you ask God, you will receive. So you even find the opportunities in things that were not even there because you asked. And for me, my ask was, God, I need to find purpose. I need to find fulfillment. And when I took that jump into the business world, I found my fulfillment, but it took work. It started from the coronavirus, the shutdown, the row, the suffering, being depressed in my journey. People think like you get happy when you establish something because you're excited. No, I went through a period of depression because I was operating under selfish ambition, you know, and I felt that like, I was like, why am I not winning? Why am I not getting the money that I need to? Why am I not getting the office that I wanted to? Because we had an investor, but because of the coronavirus, he had to use that money he was going to invest in our company into his own companies to keep it afloat. So I was looking at it from a victim mentality. But after making the switch, I realized that if I'm able to be more, I can do more. And then I started operating under a spirit of, I live to give. When you live to give, your life has purpose and meaning. and you become less selfish because we have a brain, right? Our brain is like an ancient device, and it's not meant to make you happy. It's meant to protect you, keep you comfortable. That's why anytime when you try anything in life, no matter what obstacle you try, no matter what, it will fight you. It will tell you that, no, you're too fat to try. Or like, no, you're inadequate to try. No, you don't have the skill set to try. It tries to hold you back because it wants to keep you comfortable. And for me, I felt like I couldn't live under those circumstances anymore. So if I were to tie it in, what I did was, the steps, but it's going to take a lot, is that I decided that every day of my life, I was going to have to improve my mind, my body, my soul. That time I was depressed, I was unhealthy, I had no energy, I wasn't aligned with what I thought business life was. I was just a mess walking in life. I had the skills, but I was a mess. So when I improved my mind, that means I choose to feed my mind. I choose to learn from other people and books and videos that will help equip me with the knowledge that I need in order to move forward and grow. My soul, I had to be spiritual with my life because that's my standard in life. I had to go back into my spirituality. I used to not pray a lot at all. As even though I was a pastor's kid, I was like, my parents will pray for me, right? It's okay. But I decided to understand God for myself and what He meant, because it was depressing me that I was from a church, but I had no real connection with God. I had to fix that. And every day I read a scripture from Psalms and try to understand it with full emotion. I decided that I'm gonna put myself in full emotion. And then my physicality. Every time I woke up tired and depressed. I was like, I need to change my physicality. Learn from other people who've done it, successful people. Now what I do is that every morning I switch on a hype song in the morning. I no longer wake up at like late hour. I wake up in the morning and I I have a whole list of hype songs, and I wake up and I'm like, and when I do my bed, I didn't go like, and get myself hyped. And then I list 3 things that I'm thankful for. Yeah. When you are thankful and grateful and have gratitude, you have no time to be angry, you have no time to be worried, you have no time to be sad, because you're grateful. And in your life, there's always something you're grateful for. Even if you're grateful to be alive, you're grateful for your mom or your dad being alive. There's something there. It can even be a big achievement that you had from the past. It's real. You went through it. Appreciate it. And then once you have that, it sets your mood so high that you start your day off being like, I can do this. Yeah. So I fixed my health issues. Had no energy. I was skinny from stress. But when you're stressful and you have no energy, you can't be productive. You can't operate properly. You can't be at your best. So I was like, I'm gonna go to the gym, because I freaking hated the gym, despite that I had a great kind of sport career. When I stopped. So I fixed my health. Asked my friend who was part of like this company, he's a Herbalife brand ambassador, because he had exceptional energy, and I was like, I need to have it. And he gave me products, and I freaking use those products, and my body and my energy is so through the roof every single morning that when I work and do anything that I do it with such a vitality, a vibe and energy, and it even translates in my work. I am able to be better because I'm doing better. But it doesn't happen overnight. It took 2 weeks for me to build this habit, and I'm going to have to continuously build it. But without fail, I challenge my mind, my body, and soul. I compete against myself. I don't look at Cindy, I don't look at Lerato, I don't look at Tabo. I look at myself. Because you can only give more when you do more. For example, when you had a piece of information that you felt like, wow, this is so life-changing, what's the first thing that you would do with it? You would tell somebody. You'd be like, hey, Joe, I'm going to tell you this new piece of technology. You know why? Because you acquired a skill or developed something within yourself or achieved a goal that is so full within you that you want to give back. That's why when people say human beings are selfish, yes, we can get selfish, but I don't really believe that we're fully selfish. So when you give, there's a certain euphoria you feel when you give. So that's why the whole thing was like, living is giving. You live more of a quality life when you give. And that's when the switch made. And then that's when I looked at my purpose in my field, my creativity, in my business, that I need to add so much insane value with what I do to every single client. And I must treat that relationship like the first time when I design. I don't get used to you, I get better. So when you see that work, you're like, crap, this is alive.
Yeah.
And that's what I do with everything. And what that does is that it gives me a sense of fulfillment, because not only am I increasing myself through progress, because progress equals happiness, it equals aliveness, but I'm pouring out the fullness within me to people.
Yeah. No, that is brilliant. And I wanna highlight, because you mentioned how it was a struggle finding yourself in the mess of what people disagree with regarding your journey or how you're doing things. Surely there was the first celebration, the first win, the first successful project.
Yeah.
When was that? How did you celebrate it? I think it would also be cool to share that.
The first real success that I celebrated without feeling guilty or bad was, let me think about it. It was actually this year. I've achieved a lot of great things in the past, but I felt a sense of guilt because everything that I achieved that I really tried at, there was always somebody who'd be like, that's too much effort. Why would you do that? Why would you try? Why would you go out of your way to do such extra stuff? And I would end up going back into the hole where I had to do just enough where people don't judge me, and do not too little where I get kicked out. So I just do the bare minimum. And I felt proud only this year when I discovered this revelation, I think 2 months ago, for the first time in my motherfucking life. Yeah, no, that's really, because people have different struggles. People are born in really bad situations. Life is not fair. I know a person who has never known their mother or their father, and that's their struggle. And I know my mother and father, that's not my struggle, but it doesn't mean that my problems aren't as real as her problems. So my problem was dealing with people's commenting, whether it was caring too much about people's opinions and wearing it on me like it was mine, and it was so heavy all the time. I had identity issues throughout my entire existence, and people looked at me and thought I was like the most happiest girl, but that smile was struggling. Those jokes that I was making, those to make people laugh, it was a little girl from grade 6 whose mother told her, you must care. And that messed up my entire existence. Not because she doesn't love me, but she was trying not to make me a savage, but I took it too literally. Even when I freaking didn't drive, people still said things. I had this teacher in grade 11. She hated me so much. Hated me. Hated me. Every time I would step in her class, she would just look at me. And she would I don't know if I look like the mistress or something that broke up her family. I have no idea what I did to that lady. There's one time, she would literally every day make sure that she would tell me how much of a failure that I am every day of school. From Monday to Friday, I was even used to she's gonna say something. And I wouldn't talk in the class, I wouldn't do anything in the class. One time I asked her can I please go to the bathroom? And she was like, you know what girls are like you are like? I was like, oh. I just stood there, and she would see you are those girls that are gonna go out of school and you're going to end up being a prostitute in Europe, she said that, and you're gonna have multiple baby daddies and you're gonna be a failure. You are a failure. And she'll tell me that every day, for every day, even when I wasn't trying, and people would laugh and be like, oh, she's playing games, that you're a loved person, but because she didn't know my story, she didn't know that when she said those things, I internalized those things, and I had to be a failure to survive. I had to be a failure to myself. I had to make my expectations of myself really low, even though I knew I could do better. I could dominate in whatever I wanted to, but I couldn't, because all of those things, when she said, were accumulation of my past leading up to that moment, which I carried into university, which I carried into graduation, which I carried into my work life. And then one day, I made the decision that, you know what? I need to do something about this. I looked in the mirror, and I was accountable for all the things that I've been through in my life. If you know that you are a person that's overweight, for example, and you know in your heart that you want energy, you want to be you know, you want to be lighter because you're feeling sick, you're feeling down. And let's say a trend comes like the body positivity movement, right? You know in your heart that you want to be healthier because you want to feel energetic. You want to stop feeling like an 89-year-old person at the age of 24. You know, you want to be better. But you're going to use the body positivity movement in order to excuse yourself from trying. But if you're accountable and be like, okay, I'm overweight, I need to put myself together because I know it's what I want.
And there's always a process to things. I mean, we're talking about a journey, right? A journey has a beginning, it has the middle and the detours and the mistakes. Yeah, the creative process, right? We're going to get to mistakes because look, yeah, we were going to get to mistakes. Because look, mistakes are learning.
Yeah, no, 1000%. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, 1000%. Yes. Friction is needed. Friction is needed.
So, with process, I mean, I'm your client, and I need my branding rebooted or redone. What's your process?
My process is that we put in a deposit, right? And what?
Money fast.
No, it's true. No, I made a mistake where I did it backwards. Yeah. But what I do is that they pay the deposit. I create a presentation for them, but I make this presentation so incredibly, disgustingly beautiful that I take you out of the limiting creative beliefs that you had before. So now we already lifted up your expectations, right? I'm like, oh, so my revamp can look like this. I give them 3 options. I give them a good enough industry version where they would expect it, but it's a little bit better than the expectations. Then I give them a second option where it's like a little bit riskier than the first one, where you add some spice to your life. Like, why don't you try it? Like, right? And then the third one, if you're feeling spicy, if you're feeling risque, I can make it happen. We can create something that doesn't exist. You can, when everyone's going this way, we are going this way. We are going this way. So those are the 3 options that they have to choose from. The person says, okay, I want the second one because I want to be spicy, right? And then depending on which price that they pay, because we have different prices. If you pay the high price, you get 3 options. If you pay the normal price, you get 2 options. So what I do is that I create the option that you asked for. Like, I wanted to be, you know, pretty with the red. I was like, okay, I'll make it risky like this, but I'm gonna create it pretty with the red, but I'm gonna still make it sexy. And then I give you the second option, which is what you didn't think, but I give you more because I want you to slowly look at it and die in your chest. So what happened in example is that we did this with Tishala. They are a conservative public relations marketing company. Public relations companies, if you look at them on their social media, they have a template. We all know the template. There's that guy that poses on the news, and then there's like some sort of filter in the corner, and then like a quote on the side, like, you can do it. And it's like, it's always like a standard look, right? And she wanted uniformity. She wanted prettiness. And I was like, why don't we take what your core beliefs, your uniqueness, your story, put it into this look. So what I did is that I turned her entire social media black and white with a touch of red, of her company's red. So she's always loved black and white. She's always had a fascination with it. We used it, and then we just slapped on that red. But now, because it's black and white, now the heat needs to come every time. Because now the colors are not there to give you the extra excuse to be creative. You just have black and white. So now every time when I create a post, I kill her just a little bit every day. She looks at the thing and is like, okay, Gugu, can you do a post design about this? I'm like, okay. Take the comment, look at it, and I just ask myself, how can I destroy her soul today? And I create an option that she would want, which is the process. Then I create the one where she doesn't expect. Sometimes they go for that. 40% they go for like what they want. But the other chance, if they can try something new, it's there because I'm challenging their minds to think outside of the conformity of like what they've seen in life. So every time that I show her that image of the other side, she goes to the other side. Now she picks more of the risky ones because I've put it in her face. Like, you could be this. Why can't you be extra? Why are you being limited to this? So that's the thing. I challenge them to be more. And that's me. Because people always pushed me down. And because my stand now is like, I don't care what you think about me. if I'm going to be extra with this, I'm going to be mother-freaking extra. And I'm not going to be apologetic for it. Thank you.
I've asked you about your wins, your celebrations, your first win at least.
Yeah.
Right? The one that you acknowledged really
Fully.
Right? But we don't always win, right? Sometimes we take L's, sometimes we lose, just for language purposes.
Yeah.
How have you dealt with that? I mean, this is part of growth. This is part of the moments you've made mistakes. How have you dealt with it? How have you gone about it? Because we want other people to know how to deal with mistakes and the moments that you don't always win.
Okay, so I realized that a lot of people's problem is that they ask the wrong questions, and your brain is smart. If you ask it stupid questions, it will give you the right answer for that stupid question. For example, when you say, why is life happening to me? Why am I not succeeding? Your brain is be like, because you're incompetent, because you know your booty didn't study for this test. You know that you're not being progressive, and you're gonna get that. You're gonna feel depressed. But if you ask the right question, be like, okay, I failed in this particular problem. How do I use this as fuel in order to push past it? Because if I progress through this mistake, I become the person I want to be at the end of it. So when you ask your brain, like, how can I push past this mistake? Your brain will be like, well, maybe we can go ask somebody who has dealt with this. Maybe we could go to the internet. Maybe we should wake up earlier tomorrow. And then already your brain is offering solutions on how to push past it. So don't look at a mistake as an obstacle where you can't push past it. Ask your brain the right questions with, how can I push past this mistake and become successful next time? And when you do that, your brain will be like, 1, 2, 3, 4. You achieve 1, 2, 3, 4 and become the person you want to be past that mistake.
What a response.
I know, right?
I really resonate with what you said, that your brain is capable, your brain is smart. So if you ask a question, you answer that question
exactly how you want it.
That is brilliant. I mean,
same with religion.
It's true. My composure, that is a brilliant response. And look, we're talking about growth, right? And I'm seeing from the response that you're giving that self-awareness is integral.
Yeah.
Right? Knowing your strengths, knowing what you're about, knowing what you cannot do. Limitations.
Yeah.
How have you dealt with those? For others as well that are learning here, what do limitations look like in your field, and how best can you deal with them?
Like I said before, you need to stop jumping around the truth. You need to be honest with yourself. Because at the end of the day, you are alone in this world. You can be surrounded by your parents, your friends, and be completely immersed in people, but you are alone within this body, with this one brain, right? So what you need to do as a person is that you need to be accountable for all the things that have happened to you. And remember, bad things happen to you, people happen to you, and you can't help it, but you also helped those beliefs in you. And people absolutely follow through with their beliefs. So what you need to do as a person is be accountable, list all of those things out and write them down physically. I mean everything. I'm talking about the things like, I'm lazy. I know that I'm lazy. That's why I haven't reached my dream. Like, if I were to put an example, there was this other guy that I used to work with, right? And he was he was a really talented guy. He was able to do copywriting, he was able to design, he was able to do proof check. He was one of those guys that could do everything. But he was an employee and he knew that he could be great. So what he did is that he looked at the people on top, which were predominantly white, but there was this one black guy that was on top as well. And he's like, no, the system is racist. I can't try because what's the use? But in my mind, I was looking for like, if you want to be on top, there's that guy who's your exact same age. Why don't you ask him what he did? So the truth is, he was lazy. He didn't want to put in the work in order to go talk to that guy, have a simple conversation, and make the change. So when you're not accountable for the crap that you've accumulated in your life and you address it, when your brain tells you negative things when you try, at least if you're accountable for them, you'd be like, no, I know what you're doing. I know you just want me to be negative. You push past it, and then you're able to progress in life. Stop making excuses. You're not lazy. Another person is not more talented than you. Another person is not competent. The reason why you are where you are is because you are not accountable for your limitations. And then once you don't have those limitations that own you, you own them. So when you go through hard times, you're able to defeat them and push past it and progress through it. Those are the steps. Go to your past.
Again, we're taking steps. It's process. It's learning, it's growth. You're moving from mistakes to success. You've understood. What is it looking like in your future? And when I'm asking that, there are people who want to know what it will take for them to get where you are. There are people that want to understand what you actually do. So being an art director, are there different types of art directors? Or are there different titles for being an art director, and what that will look like in the future as well? So it's a bit of a dense question.
There's a lot packed in there.
But we can break it.
We can break it down.
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, what I realized from a very early time when there was career day at school, I knew that I wanted to do something creative. I knew that I was a painter, I was a visual artist, but I knew that I didn't want to go around and painting walls because that's not where my heart was. But I knew it had to be digital. So that's me living off my terms. My terms is that it had to be artistic and had to be digital. But I just didn't know what to call it because I was never in my entire life exposed to the creative digital world. But then once these people from Vega came and like, hey, we do digital creativity, I was like, that's where my home is. So I could tell people that, hey, this is what you do to be a creative director if you're a creative person. But if your heart is to be a fine artist, and I give you this advice, that go into the creative digital industry world, you are going to be mother-freaking miserable because that's not where your heart is. Go back. What are your terms? I want to be a fine artist. What you do is that you do your research. I was fortunate that people came to me and I knew where to go. What you need to do is become more resourceful. You have an idea of what you want. Go speak to people. Like, who can I speak to that does fine artistry? You know, who's a successful person who does artistry in this particular direction that I want to, and then go for that area. But for people who want to come into the digital area, this is what you do. You go to a school that is able to challenge you. I had an opportunity to go to UP and have the university experience, right? But they were theory-based more than practical-based. The reason why I went to Vega, despite how expensive it was, is because it was practical. And it gave industry level of understanding creativity. And I remember my peers would complain like, why aren't we writing more tests? And I'm like, you could have just went to UP and had a theoretical way of going about it. But the opportunity is having an industry in-depth understanding of doing it. It's one thing to learn about it, but doing it is a totally different ballgame. And that's when I moved further into the school and decided to finally get my finances right in order to pursue this idea of education. Once I got educated, I was like, okay, what now? Okay, I need to get experience. That was my standard. Maybe for you, if school is not your direction, you need experience. You need to go to a person that you ideally find as a more successful peer than you, and go absorb their brain, absorb what they've learned and accumulate and learn through life. I needed to learn through education. So I became an intern because that was my standard. But I knew that I was unconventional already, deep down in my chest. But I was still suppressed, right? So I went to a conservative corporation, absolutely mother-freaking hated it. I was like, I'm out of here. We're not doing this. Then I went to Santon, got a little bit of, some vibe there, learned so much from them. It was great. It wasn't for me because I felt like I wasn't able to give more through my abilities. And that's when I went into this riskier field, which is business, where I was able to express myself. Because my pressing need was to give more without restriction. And because my desire was that, like I told you, what you ask, you will see. Or you receive, not see. It's English. Like what you ask for, you will receive. So you as a person need to honestly look in the mirror if you're an artist and be like, what kind of artistry, what kind of industry gives me more fulfillment? Did I feel euphoria when I painted? Did I feel an amazing gas in my system when I was in the drawing department? If you are happy in those areas, why the mother freaking hell would you go into an industry that's totally opposing that space that you're in? God leaves breadcrumbs in your life of what you're good at. He does. You could be a speaker, you could be a healer, you could be a preacher. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it is.
So then, I think, as you've laid it out, that book, do the research.
Find out what you like. What gives you energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it is important to be
1,000
trained and schooled in what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So the academic element is important.
It's important, but like the people say, when they genuinely feel it in their soul, that if they're in a school that doesn't offer them that next level of thinking, get experience from a peer. So you're still getting educated, but not in that space where you feel like you're not growing.
Okay. Let's think of the unconventional circumstances and maybe the unfortunate circumstances where maybe funding is limited or people come from limited spaces of family dynamics that limit you taking on an opportunity with creativity and your desire and your path. How would you advise going about it in the best way possible?
Okay, so like I said, like my journey is not the same as other people's journey. I'm fortunate to have parents that love me, but in that journey, they told me that I need to, after school, I need to take my ass to the freaking corporate world and make money because I need to help them pay this huge debt they accumulated from me from Vega. Because I told them that Vega is important. I have to go to the school. So there was a pressure there. But if we're looking at even worse circumstances, my mom is a pastor and she works as an HOD in a school in Mamelodi. So you got your middle class and you got the people who have it like the worst, who've been brought up in abusive homes, who've been cast out, people who were raised by family members that didn't care, even rape victims. And I had a chance to talk to some of them. But there was one girl that I remember, Sia. She came from in a horrible environment, a horrible background. She's supposed to be a statistic. But when I observed this girl, she's in matric. She realized that education was her freedom. She realized that if she was to take the time to progress in school, she'll be able to travel the world, and she did because of her education. She was able to broaden her mind because of her education. She was able to take on because of her education. While her peers were busy messing around in school, saying woe was me, taking the victim's mentality, she said, I'm not going to be a statistic. Not because she had a different mind or she just saw what's in front of her and she's like, I don't want to be the next baby mama. I don't want that. My environment shows me that the girls my age are having children or they have limited beliefs, and she knew that there has to be something more. So as a person, if your parents are restricting you from living your dreams, nobody is putting a gun to your head and saying you need to go into the corporate world, you need to be a lawyer, when you know damn well your heart and your spirit is in musicianship. Who said as a musician you have to be poor? That's the limiting thoughts of your parents and other people. How come you can't be the first person within your family to be like, I can be a billionaire if money is important to you as a musician? You have references around the world. You have Body Kanye West who grew up dirt poor and they still acquired millions through their musicianship. You have references. As human beings, we have no excuse not to try. The only reason why you are where you are is because you let your choices be influenced by people who wanted to limit you. And we need to be accountable. There's an accountability mirror. You look at yourself and you be like, do I want to take the limitations of my parents and put them in my spirit when I know that my heart is in this, but you choose to do this? What's the use of going into an occupation that you know your heart will be so incredibly miserable? Where you can go into an occupation where you'll be more fulfilled, and not even that, if you want money, there are steps in which you can acquire money through what you do. You can be a millionaire through being a fine artist. People exist. There are examples. Follow them. Make a friend with one. They are there. They're on the social media. We are in a world where you can go on Instagram, DM somebody that you admire, and they could respond and mentor you. So my thing is, let's not look at those limitations and take them as our own and choose to be fulfilled, rather than being into a situation where 6 years later you're in an occupation that's depressing you so much that you feel sick even opening the door in that space. Why be that? Why are you going to go into a space where you know not only are you going to be miserable, but you know deep down you're going to quit? You will quit. And I promise there's one day where then that voice in your head is going to knock on your door and be like, hey, remember me? Remember me? So let's not use our backgrounds as a way to make excuses for us not to try. Because to be honest, people can say that, oh my gosh, I grew up in a horrible environment, but we know that there's references out there of people who've grown up in horrible backgrounds. One example, David Goggins, right? David Goggins is a man who grew up in a home where his mother got beaten up, he got beaten up. And he grew up in an environment where it was racist, so he was always talked down to, he was always made to feel little. He's supposed to be a statistic. But somehow through that rubbish, he is so successful. He chose to progress through that pain and he saw in the mirror, like, I don't want to be this kind of a person, and became a better person through it. If a person who grew up in a rubbish environment like that is able to do that, if you grew up in a rubbish environment, whether you were raped, whether you were harassed, whether you were born in a horrible family, whether you were born or in a family that was willing to take finances away from you, why not choose an area where you know that you're damn good in this area, progress in that space, and live a fulfilled life? Done.
Any last words from the wise?
I just feel that as a human being, if you're not progressing, you're dying. And if you don't choose to make yourself better, you are literally stopping yourself from being a real contributor on this earth, because everyone was born to contribute. God has given each and every single human being something so incredibly special that they can give people. If you do not choose to grow yourself, you will not be able to give, because you're going to be operating from a spirit of lack. You have to get better. You have to learn what makes you tick. Operate in that space, choose yourself. Because when you choose yourself, not in the sense of being selfish, but choose yourself in the sense of knowing that if you're full of life, you'll be able to pour into others and fulfill your purpose on this earth. Progress. Don't be afraid of the hard work, it's worth it. Do it and get it done.
I want to snap to that. Thank you very much, good people, for watching this. Stay tuned for more wisdom from the wise.